All right, welcome back. On RealCopStoriesVideos.com, we have 359 cop stories. Look them up. They're my babies. We got Vice, which is gross alerts. We have all kinds of foot pursuits, police stuff. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff you won't see on television. This is good stuff. There's a producer out there. Let me know. Okay, this stuff's pretty good. I'm proud of them all, and they're all mine. Okay, so in addition to that website, along with that website, over 160 questions and answers. So ask me a question. I'll answer you directly, and then we're putting them on video. So if you want to ask me a question, email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com, and I'll answer the question like we're doing now. Now, the question we're talking about now is, did I ever have any contact with dead bodies? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, here's another one. A lot of gang stuff, because I worked almost 7 years gang, so a lot of gang stuff. Here's another one. I'm going to start out with an offshoot, though, okay? Nobody knows where rivalries start at. Nobody knows where they started. They could have started back in the 60s, for crying out loud. Who knows? In other words, one gang hating another gang. It's kind of like, the Dodgers and the Giants, something like that. The Yankees and the Red Sox. So where did it start? And all the people that started the rivalry, they're all dead and gone. So why do you have a rivalry if the people that are the players and the fans, they're all gone? Okay, it just goes that way. Well, gang members, not as whimsical but more violent, is that they keep this hostility towards other people live in other parts of the city, other streets. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And so, like I've always said, 1 week these people are victims, stand out front of their house having a beer or having a barbecue, and they get shot at. And the next week they're suspects. Okay, and the next week they're victims. And the next week they're suspects, because this is what they do. They get shot at. Oh yeah, if they know who shot at them, they go over there and shoot their area. Oh yeah, this goes on. And there's always all kinds of, you see on television all the time, mistaken identity. When they say he wasn't a gang member, that's because these gang members will just shoot anybody that's walking around the other neighborhood. Unfortunately, unlike the news want to tell you, most of these shootings involve minorities against minorities. It's really sad. Mexicans against Mexicans, blacks against blacks. Not too many crossovers, blacks against Mexicans, because they're only pretty much ethnically pure, killing each other. I don't know, kind of lack of a better word. But so this is where rivalries come from, and so we know about these rivalries. So we patrol area. If there's a shooting one weekend, and we kind of know who the shooters were, then the following week, because we work every day pretty much, we heavily patrol the people that possibly did the shooting, because we know that these guys are going to figure out who did it, and they're going to come back and do the shootings. It's not a game. It's a very serious game. You want to call it a game. It's a task to try to keep them killing each other. And unfortunately, like I said before, they only hit like 10% of what they aim at. So if they start shooting, and what happened the other night, some poor little girl got shot in the head because a drive-by shooting. They fired at one car, missed, and this little girl was in there with her mom, and they killed her because they don't hit everything they shoot at. Best guess is 10% of what they aim at, they hit. 90% they don't. 90% means you guys, public. Cops aren't much better. I think we're like 15, 18% hit rate because we're supposed to be trained marksmen. Even then we miss. Okay, that's why we're so careful when we shoot someone, or have to shoot someone. We have to watch out who's behind the guy, because we may not hit him. Okay, this is not John Wayne and all these movies. This is real stuff. Anyway, so that's where retaliation comes from. One gang shoot another gang. Okay, I'm going to tell you there's a gross alert coming up. Okay, so we have sensitive people in the room, somebody that might not be able to handle a really gross, not sexually gross, I'm talking about violently gross. I'll give you a few seconds. That's enough to get out of camera range, out of TV range. Okay, here's what happened. Some of it I heard, most of it I saw. Okay, call came out one night. ADW, which is assault with a deadly weapon, ADW just occurred, and put out an address, and they put down there possibly gang related. Okay, so we're going, whoa, so we all take off. And again, we've got a pretty big unit. We expanded. We had probably 8 units, 8 two-person units a night, 7 or 8 depending on people that are off. So that's 14, 16 cops along with a couple of supervisors. So since we were gangs, and that call came out with a gang title, all of us are rolling. Okay, all of us are rolling. So it's the northeastern part of the city, so we're all rolling. And we're in suits and ties, and everybody knows who we are. We're in plane cars. Okay, so this is what the scene I saw. Here comes a gross alert. We're about the second car there, and I mean second car there, meaning that this is how fast the cars pull up. They pull up, we pull up. We're about 2 seconds behind them. Everybody's there at the same time because we're all want to get there quick. Why? Because we want to solve the crime. The faster you get there, better chance of solving the crime. So a description came out of a car and some suspects. And we just pulled up. I heard that we didn't have radios on our hips at those times. It was just in our police cars. So I'm the passenger. So we're pulling up. I hear that one unit's chasing the other car. Well, we're here at the scene. We're not in a good position to help them. Plus, there's plenty of cars chasing them anyway. So as we get out of the car, I'm looking, and I hear it first, and then I see it. Okay, it's probably a dozen people out in this front yard, and they're all screaming. Okay, they're screaming and there's wailing. In other words, like, oh my God, ah, and there's righteous screaming. Who could do this? Ah, there's guys yelling, guys are screaming. And we run towards them. There's other officers. There's 6 of us now running up, and we're yelling, police, police. And there's this whole mob we thought they were assaulting someone. We thought there was a fight and someone got stabbed. And that's usually what happens. And you get there and everybody you have to pull people off people, and it's a big scramble to get to the middle of this, to get to the football, so to speak, get to the middle of this thing. Pulling people off, and again, this is about 1976, still with me to this day, okay? Pull everybody off. There's a girl, 15, 16, holding on to her mother and screaming. She was screaming the loudest, okay? She's got her arm holding around mom's torso. And here's what happened. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, this is what happened. A gang is going to retaliate at this house. I hate to jump around, but I want to, before I give you the key part of the story. Gang members come up to this house that we're at now, and they're going to do a retaliation. They run up to the door, no one's out front, and they knock on the door. And their goal, one guy standing there was knocking on the door, was to kill anybody open that front door. Didn't matter who it was, because it's a rival gang house. It is a gang house. It was rightfully a gang house. Gang members hang out there, and there's gang members living there. That door opened up. Grandma was answering the door, because it's her house, and the assailant had an axe. And he swung that axe when that door opened and got her right across the chops, okay? And the reason why I know he got her right across the chops, because when that grandma's granddaughter is down there holding her, that axe is still embedded in the skull, okay? And grandma is doing what we call the chicken. She is jerking around, because you know what that is? That's death throes, man. Okay, she is dying right there. And since we got there maybe 3 minutes after the call came out, which means probably 5 minutes since the incident occurred, she's probably almost dead, if not dead already. Okay, so we roll up there and it's like, and then we have to yell at the girl, get off her, that's my grandma, you can't blame her for this, oh my gosh, but you got to get her off that body, because now she got hit on the porch, little 3-step up, porch area, no porch around, it's a stoop, I guess you'd call it, or a landing, so you can see the blood there, and then the blood trail all the way down where she fell, because there's a blood trail at the bottom, and then they dragged her everybody came out of that house, and they basically dragged her around screaming, wow, so we go, oh my gosh, so then, so we've had to pull her off, had to handcuffed another kid who was a cousin or nephew or something, handcuff somebody else. They're all want to get in on grandma. I can't do that. We don't know grandma's dead. We assume she's dead because, okay. So she's laying there and she's doing the jerking. And so somebody get a blanket, so we got a blanket and covered her. We actually covered her completely because we figured, one of the guys that came up said, this guy's brother was a Secret Service agent. He says, because I saw when he put the blanket over her head, I thought, wow, that's cold-blooded. But later on, he says, I figured she was dead. And she can still breathe, so she was okay until the paramedics get here. But that's a horrible sight for anybody to see. I mean, people walking by and looking, you're going to leave a woman out there with an axe in her skull so everybody can see this? I mean, what do you do with this? So, got all people handcuffed. By that time, we heard on the radio that the other unit had stopped the unit, and a couple of juveniles in it, a couple of kids, and they wanted another unit to take some witnesses there. Because when the axe went through, the other kids were coming out, because it's a gang house. And so they saw the guy, so they had, these guys, unlike another story I told you where the 30-year-old gang member wouldn't tell us anything, these guys, their grandma got taken out, and boy, they readily identified those guys as the one guy that did the axe, and the other guy was the driver of the car. So they identified these guys, they're 17 years old, they're gone, and so this was the crime scene, unbelievable. So we hold the crime scene, we got the witnesses away, it's incredible. So then we have to call paramedics. As soon as we saw this down, one of the guys took off. Now remember, we don't have radios here, so it's not everything can't be instantaneous. It's like World War II movies where radio communication broke down and doing hand signals and stuff. And then of course nowadays in the military, everybody's got radios and tactical stuff. Not those days, man. So I remember when she was down, somebody had to run to the car and call for the paramedics and the radio because we have no radios. So as we're trying to get the crowd away and get her covered, here comes the paramedics, and they pull up, and they look at us, and we go like this. Code 4, the scene's okay, because paramedics will not respond to a crime scene until the cops secure it. Remember, they're firemen, they're not cops. They don't carry any guns. So they're not going to go into a dangerous area and get shot at. I don't blame them. So we keep the area clean, we secure it, and we call them in. So they come run up there with their their boxes of medical supplies, and they're looking at it, and there she is. And of course, first one said, "Why is she covered?" They didn't see what was going on. And so this guy, I told you, the Secret Service agent, his brother, he's a cop. He goes, "You'll see why in a minute, because they're getting hostile, So they pulled it off, and they both stood there and went, okay. In other words, they shut down. Now I'm not going to yell at this officer. Look at this mess. So they're down there and throw stuff on her. And I think they are, by the rapidity of their actions, I've been around 7 years now, it tells you how much they feel that this either is over or there's a chance. Okay, I've been to scenes where these paramedics are throwing clothes off and doing the chest up and throwing oxygen really fast. And in this one, as soon as they pulled it back, they saw this, and you can see the speed slow down considerably, because they also figured that she was dead. And so they put the thing on her. The guy's checking her breathing. The guy's checking, got the stethoscope, and within a minute or two, they look up and they go. They take everything off, and they covered up with one of these vinyl things, Not just, we had some blanket that we used, and then they said, so they're walking back, and the other guy that told you, the other officer that covered her, he's walking with him. I think he was trying to tell him, and he came back and I go, "What happened?" Oh, they apologized. They shouldn't got bent out of shape. I said, well, they're not here. You got to do what you got to do. I know it looks horrible to cover a woman up, thinking she's already dead, but you don't want everybody else to see it. These kids are already screaming already. Can you imagine if you left her uncovered? They'll be screaming. All they see is just staring at their grandmother the whole time. Bad enough they're not going to ever forget this. They're probably, since they were 16 then, they're probably in their 60s now, if they lived. All these people that saw their grandma. And they'll never forget this. I never forgot this. It was incredible. Talk about trauma. So we found out through other guys that the two guys that got convicted of it, and they're sent away they're juveniles, so they got away like 7 or 8 years. They'll be out. That's gang retaliation. And so they took her away. We stood around to make sure everything was fine. The kids went with her and with the coroner, and that's it. So we knew what gang did the axe murder, we'll call that. Okay. So now, the next week, within a week now or so, there's going to be retaliation. We knew that from experienced gang members. So what do? We have to patrol the suspect's area a lot more to try to stop this. But remember now, people say, why didn't you patrol this area where she got hit? It's obviously going to be retaliation. Yeah, in a dream world of, if you were Beverly Hills PD and you have 2 gangs, yeah, you can do that all day long. You got 30 gangs, and now they expanded us to another area, another 15 gangs over here. It's not physically impossible to say, okay, we've got 7 rivals going on, so we're going to have 7 locations to extra patrol. No, it's too much. So you just kind of try to plug a hole over here, and then it doesn't work. They know we're around. They'll wait, because they know they can wait until we finally move away to do some other things, and then they hit. So we know there was another one coming. Sure enough, about a month later, another one, the people that did the axe murders, their people got shot at some party, and the beat goes on. And this is the 70s. It's still happening today. Okay, it doesn't end. They train their kids to be gang members. They're gang members. Grandma's a gang member. I don't know where it's going to end, because it never ends. So anyway, interesting about that. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.